Hey guys, Chicago injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo here, and in today's video I'm going to answer the question, should I go to trial on my injury case? So, this is a question that I get from people who have been represented by another lawyer, and it usually comes up when there's a settlement offer in their injury case, right? Doesn't matter whether it's a workers' comp case, doesn't matter if it's a third-party personal injury like a car crash or a fall down. I will say that the trial process in workers' comp and in a third-party case is completely different, right? So in workers' comp, there's just a judge called an arbitrator, and the trial is usually very short compared to like a third-party case, like a car crash, fall down, bar fight, dog bite, bar fight, nursing home abuse, medical negligence, medical malpractice type case. Those are very complicated, or they can be, especially nursing home or medical malpractice, and those are usually tried in front of a jury. So usually what happens is the plaintiff's lawyer who represents you doesn't file a jury demand because the insurance company always wants a jury, because the jury is a strength for them, because if they can convince 1 out of 12 people that they shouldn't pay money, they'll sit in that jury room and offer nothing and get the jury to come way down in what they end up giving you. I mean, if you think about it, imagine you're a juror sitting in a jury room with 12 or 11 other strangers, right? And like 1 or 2 people are like, no way, this is a BS case, we shouldn't pay anything, I got hurt and I didn't get anything, he doesn't deserve anything. Even if his reasons or her reasons are terrible, if everybody agrees, like, yeah, this is a $100,000 case, this poor guy got hurt, this is $1 million case, this poor guy got hurt, and what's he going to do now? All you need is one person on the jury to keep you there for a week. Like, you're missing work, you're not spending time with family, you're stuck in a boring courthouse for a week, just sitting in a room with this guy trying to convince him to pay some money. And then usually what happens is you either get a hung jury, where the entire trial was a waste of time. It could be a 2-day trial, it could be a 2-week trial, it could be a 2-month trial. A hung jury means they got to retry the entire case, and that can mean thousands of additional dollars in costs to try the case. Not to mention, they're going to put a new jury in to hear the case. The other thing that could happen is it's just a compromise verdict. So everybody in the room agrees, let's say that it's $1 million case. One person is like, I think $5,000 is more than generous. Well, what are you going to do? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Everybody in the room, but you got one jerk who doesn't want to pay. Everybody's going to come down. The $1 million verdict is going to end up being, a $100,000 verdict, even if the guy can never return to work or lost a leg. You got one person who's holding 11 people's lives hostage because he or she is bitter. They have no love in their heart or compassion in their heart for other people. And listen, that can and will happen, right? So what it comes down to is, should I take my case to trial? It's really going to depend on what your chances are, what kind of case it is, and what are your prospects and what's the offer? Now listen, let's start with the offer. If there's 0 offer, it's an easy decision. You either have to go to trial or you have to dismiss the case. Those are the only 2 options, right? If your case is really rough or really bad evidence comes out, it might be that a lawyer would advise you to just get out of the case. Thankfully, that's pretty rare for evidence so bad to come out, but I remember as a very young lawyer, I was trying a case, and I found out that the client was absolutely lying about being hurt in the accident. The defense hid evidence, like they did not disclose it in discovery, which is a big no-no, but the judge sort of let them off the hook. And, it didn't end well for the injured person, which is why I always tell people, just be honest with your lawyer. Everything you tell your lawyer is protected by attorney-client privilege, and if there's a problem with your case, if your lawyer knows, they can fix it for you. So should you take your case to trial? If there are real problems with the case, and you have a good offer, you might want to consider settling. Because remember, Illinois, unanimous verdict. You need 12 people all to agree that you should win and all to agree on the amount of money. One or two people can bring a verdict down by making everybody sit for a week and reduce the verdict down to less than your medical bills. It does happen. If your lawyer thinks the case should go to trial, you should probably take the case to trial. Lawyers understand and they can advise you about whether an offer is fair or not, but they can only do it if they have all the information. In other words, I'll occasionally get people call me who say, should I go to trial or should I settle? Here's some basic facts about the case. What do you think? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I tell them. It might be legal malpractice for me to tell them the exact value of their case without being in possession of all the nitty-gritty details. Because look, the broad brushstrokes are important to know. How it happened, when it happened, what the general injuries are. But it's all the little details that are going to tell you whether you can win your case or lose your case. So I wouldn't rely on just calling a lawyer for a consultation to figure out whether you think you can get the money or not, or whether the money on the case is worth it or not, right? Whether you should say no to that money and just go to trial. So those are some things for you to think about, but definitely I will tell you, last thing to think about whether you should go to trial, it takes a long time to go to trial. So if you're on the eve of trial and there's a good offer on the case, that's a very different situation than before a lawsuit's filed, pre-suit, or early on in the process, they're making you an offer. And you've got, there's not even a trial date set. Well, under those circumstances, it's very different because with the way the courts are right now, depending on your jurisdiction and what had happened in your town with the lockdowns and the closings and everything like that, it's been a while now, but we're still recovering from that. There's a million cases in the courthouse. There's all kinds of procedural gaffes and snafus, like are things going online, are judges going back to seeing people in person. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, and that has created it takes a lot more time to get to trial, is my point. So my point is, if you decide now that you don't want money that your attorney is recommending, and you're like, forget it, push it to trial, well, you may wait a year, 2, 3, even 4 years to get to trial, depending on the complexity of the case and the court's schedule and how long it's going to take to get depositions done and get the case ready for trial. You may be looking at quite a long wait before your case even gets to trial. And the other thing is, remember, you're you're rolling the dice to some degree. Now, you're a good attorney who knows how to try cases, who has experience, is going to be able to tell you some idea what your chances are, but they're going to give you a more accurate understanding of that the closer the trial comes, right? Far away from the trial, there's still going to be more evidence. The defense is going to probably go hire a doctor or 3 to say you're not really hurt, your bills are too high, it's all arthritis, it's not related to the accident, right? The jury's going to hear those doctors say that the case is full of it, you're full of it, your lawyer's full of it, it's not a real case. That's what happens at trial. They're allowed to do it. A good lawyer can beat them up pretty good, but at the end of the day, it's 12 strangers, just 12 people at random, who listen to your case and decide. So it's a risk. Bottom line is, if there's a fair offer on your case and there are problems or challenges in your case, and you have somebody like an attorney who is in possession of all the facts suggesting that you should probably settle it, my advice would usually be to settle it. Now, of course, if you don't like your attorney hasn't built up trust with you where you trust what he or she is telling you, and they're rude to you, and you don't feel like they've done any work on the case, then it might be time for you to get a second opinion. There are lawyers out there who have a reputation for just settling cases, don't really look at them, don't really work them up. They just settle, and if they can't settle them, they get out of the case. So if you have a lawyer like that, or you suspect you do, it might be time for a second opinion. But as a general rule, if your attorney has worked the case up and litigated the case, and they're telling you to settle, you should probably settle. I know that's frustrating. It may mean taking less money than you were hoping for, but you know what they say, bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Anyway, I've gone on quite a long time now, so I think I'm going to shut up. I hope this information helps you. I'm really just telling you what I tell my clients and what I would tell my brother or sister or a family member if they asked me like the inside baseball on this kind of stuff. So I hope the info helps you. I hope I didn't disappoint you too much. That's about it. If you or a loved one has need of an injury lawyer, I'm here for you. Free consultation. You can call anytime, night or day, any day of the year. 312-500-4500, 312-500-4500. Give me a holler. And, you know, even if you just have some questions, I'm happy to answer them. I've got some great tools on my website, links in the description. Please subscribe and like the video if you are so inclined and you'd like more, see more videos like this. I'd be happy to have you as a subscriber, and I'd appreciate it. Finally, if you enjoy my videos and you think I'm an okay guy, a straight shooter, if you would leave me a 5-star review on Google, it would really help my business out. I'll leave a link in the description. It's real easy to do. You click the link, it takes you right to the page. You click 5 stars, say a kind word, and hit submit. You're done in 5 seconds, but it really, really would help me out a lot. Very competitive market, and people really rely on the reviews. So if you could do that, it would help me out, okay? Thanks for watching again. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope for my sake I get out of this traffic pretty soon so I can get some work done. So thank you, take care, and until next time, be safe.